Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another week of me trying to pass my funded account. So this week I was honestly starting to get a little less disciplined, as you can see, as you'll be able to see soon. But I did manage to bring it back near the end of the week, managed to pull it out the fire. But yeah, I was just struggling quite a bit with my discipline this week, and yeah, there really isn't much else to say, so I'll just get into this week's trades. Alright, so looking at initial price, it seemed pretty bullish since price just tapped into the high time frame order blocks and continued to respect these confluences on the low time frame. And price was nearing this hourly high, so I was thinking that we could look for a continuation or a micro move bearish. And price actually ended up coming down and sweeping out all of London lows just before market open, which is pretty crazy. And since all of the sell side liquidity was taken, I could look for some longs depending on the confluences developed. Right now, I was just waiting for some confirmation though, and price just kept driving down lower and lower. And I was a little reluctant to enter into shorts since price just swept out the previous day lows at this point, so I felt the move was already over. And looking back, I didn't see any opportunity to enter this massive drop other than the 1 minute fair value gap tap in before some accumulation into a manipulation move down. And I kept waiting and watching, and price did initially form a nice 1 minute BPR within the 3 minute order block, so I placed a snipe entry there. But then price continued higher, forming a 3 minute BPR, which I decided to switch to as my entry since it felt pretty unlikely for price to continue lower to the 1 minute BPR. And it felt like price would want to move up more since it would use the more recent confluences, and if it continued moving lower, it would be a continuation move lower. But unfortunately, price came down and stopped me out for a loss of 60 bucks. My risk was a lot smaller since I only used 2 cons because of the unpredictability, and also because I initially wanted my stop loss wider. But I moved my stop loss up since price came to where my stop loss was. It would be a continuation move lower, meaning I had my bias wrong in the first place. And I think the reason why I got this wrong today was because I didn't wait for confirmation on at least a 5 minute time frame, and because I entered during an unpredictable market state. And I didn't expect price to keep dropping, so yeah, I'll be adding this to my mental library so maybe it can aid me in the future. Alright, so looking at price today, overall seemed a little bit bearish to me since it was dropping on the high time frame, and on the 1 hour it disrespected the 4 hour inverse fair value gap again. It was a little confusing though, but overall price was respecting bearish confluences like this 15 minute inverse fair value gap, and market open bringing price down to the pre-market low and sweeping it out. Price developed some nice imbalances too, like this 15 minute fair value gap and 5 minute fair value gap, which I could use as confluences for a trade or some confirmation, and I did see potential to take the trade down to the recent prominent low. If I did enter, it would have been a continuation entry, but I honestly didn't like how choppy price action was. I didn't really like how there wasn't much places where I could target TP other than the recent prominent low, and the conditions didn't seem to be the best for trading, so I just kept waiting. And nothing really came in the end, so I decided to just call it a day. Alright guys, so for pre-market thoughts, overall I felt a little more bullish because there was a lot more confluences to back up the bias, which made it feel more A+. I was feeling bullish because there was a daily fair value gap tap into a push up with a 4 hour bullish fair value gap respect, as well as price disrespecting this order block on the 1 hour time frame. And these high time confluences just made it more appealing. And considering the opposite though, for bearish I did see potential to push down in the moment to fill in the high time confluences before getting that push up after sweeping out the prominent high time high. And there were bearish LRLs being developed too, which could act as an extra confluence, and that was the only move I saw for bearish. Anything else and that would have been something affected by news or outside sources in my opinion. So yeah, that was my analysis, and I was just waiting to see a potential setup. And I was just waiting to see if price would break out of this accumulation range on the 1 minute, since volume was already dying out on the 5 minute after sweeping out this high time frame high. And I've seen price get pretty active near the end of pre-market too, so I was just seeing if I could catch a piece of that. But yeah, it didn't seem like anything was coming soon, so I was just gonna keep waiting. But something did appear. This 5 minute fair value gap was disrespected, and on the low time frame price retraced back into it and tapped into this 1 minute fair value gap, which made me decide to take this trade. And I entered off of the respecting candle for confirmation, and we were in drawdown for a little bit, but I was confident that the trade was going to go well. And price accumulated a bit before finally plummeting near the end of pre-market, bringing us to our TP for a nice win of $73.52. And honestly, I could have used more contracts in this trade, especially since I did more analysis. I was more confident, and that's what I'll likely be doing in the future, especially also since this trade was much smaller. So obviously not over risking my limit, but just putting in more cons, especially for smaller trades like these. Alright, so as you can see, I did bring it back near the end of the week. I did a more thorough analysis and was more active on the charts on the last day, which made me more confident. I also meditated and did some breath work, which really helped me out, so I'll be incorporating those into my everyday life just to keep my mind fresh and focused. I've been feeling like I've been making little to no progress, which made me feel shit, and that's most likely why I was making more dumb decisions at the start of the week. Honestly, I'm grateful that the internet cut out on Thursday, because that was my worst day this week, I would say mental wise. But yeah, just on the grind each week and constantly leveling up and becoming better as a trader and as a person. And yeah, like I just have to remember that progress isn't linear. It's a complicated process like with ups and downs, and these things are bound to come around, and I just need to stay consistent, put in the effort. And honestly, it's pretty crazy how fast it feels. It's already like the 13th week of me trying to pass the funded, so it's been a crazy learning experience so far. But yeah, that's about it for this week's trade recap. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.